Takes.
Yes.
You good? There we go. Good evening, we'll call this meeting of the Jamestown City Council work session for Monday, September 22nd to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sheldon.
Here.
Brackman. Here. Paternity. Reynolds.
Present.
Faulkner.
Here.
Bonfiglio.
Here.
DeVersa.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
And President Dolz.
Here, thank you. This time we give opportunities for people to address the council. If you'd like to address the council tonight, please state your name and address and limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Anybody want to speak?
All of 212 you guys know me by now. I come here a lot of times with problems that need fixing, and they have got a solution, maybe. Been doing a lot of digging. I know a lot of places, they have local ordinances that fall through the cracks. People forget that they exist because they've been on the books for so long. E-code 219-3, over here, I saw at least 4 violations, quality of life violations. If our city is in issues with revenue, why aren't we enforcing quality of life violations? This would be city revenue. They're codes that we put on the books ourselves, the city.
Would you like me to answer it? It's not as simple as just an immediate revenue. Sometimes it's in court.
I do understand that, but it is potential for revenue. It is a means to remedy some revenue issues. I mean, if I've seen them, other people see them, as long as they've seen this little list. I mean, I saw them in 5 minutes. That's at least 4 tickets. That's four court appearances. That's 4 costs. That's fines. I mean, I don't understand it. We have these laws on the books, but we don't enforce them.
Examples, or?
They are.
Example.
They are
Yes.
enforced.
Hold on, I've got like 3 people in this here.
So I will say the general nature of Jamestown City Court is if there's a quality of life ticket issued, the judges would prefer people to spend the money fixing the issue rather than to assign them a fine. So
Right.
usually what happens is we have a first court appearance, they're given a chance to
This is
fix
where I
the
was
issue.
going with this actually, because I have looked into that. What I'm specifically looking at is the absentee landlords and the abandoned properties. The city, if I remember right, also has a mechanism to recoup, maintenance costs on properties that property owner does not do. And then they add that cost onto the property tax at the end of the year. I know I saw that somewhere in our local ordinances too. Are these mechanisms being used? We complain about budget all the time.
Yes.
Like I said, some things fall through cracks, so I'm hoping to offer solutions here.
They're being used.
Good.
Yes,
I
we can.
don't really know where to go other than,
Keep the bar down.
I'm sure folks read the paper. It's not just you guys that are noticing the conditions on Fulton Street. It's getting more attention. Can we maybe, I don't know, try to organize some volunteer work, something, city pay for a dumpster, volunteers in the neighborhood, help clean this stuff up? I'm willing, I got a busted back and I'm willing to do it. I'm sure there's more people in the community.
I know there's-
I don't know how to go about organizing those things. If somebody here can get in touch with me, help me out with that, that'd be great. I'll go around door to door asking folks, help us out on this day. You guys bring a dumpster, we'll get all those properties cleaned up so investors maybe want to take a look at them. You guys saw the pictures, that's the stuff you can't see from the street.
I got a question, though, but I don't know about going on other people's property without permission. That's the attorney's question. I guess
don't.
you can't, right?
There is an ordinance on the books that allows maintenance to be done with the recoupment done on property taxes at the end of the year, so I would assume that that has been addressed.
Can you go on a property that,
If we own it.
if the landlord is missing, landlord is MIA, and you organize a volunteer group with a dumpster, can you go on in his backyard and clean up the
Well-
site? Pardon?
I would say if you're a private citizen, no, you'd be trespassing. If it's a city and there's a clear violation that's happening, that can be done, but we just don't have the amount of people
No.
necessary for that.
We have to have an order, Elliot.
Oh, yeah, we have to have an order, we could,
Yeah.
if there's a clear
We have to get a
violation.
court order.
So it is possible.
With the court?
It is possible. Okay, cool. Can we, please, anything. I mean, like I said, I got a busted back and I'm willing to be out there cleaning up trash every day because our neighborhood's out of control. We got vermin problems, we got trash, we got stolen property. You guys read the paper. Please help us out. Tired of coming here and just getting kind of swept under the rug or so it feels. Please help us out. If there's a possibility, can we please look into it? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address?
Yes, sir. My name is Larry Kuhn. I live at 215 Fulton Street. I'm actually not here to really complain about things in my neighborhood as much as I let him take care of. I'm actually here for something that was posted in the newspaper. I rent from a gentleman named David Cass. I'm sure if you read the paper, you've seen a couple of weeks ago, somebody pointed him as the Jamestown poster boy. He's not. Never has been, never will. I know because I rent from the man. When I moved up here, I worked for him for 11 weeks approximately. Worked on 2 houses, fixed them, made them livable again, and got let go because of his drug abuse maintenance workers. They didn't come to work normal, they came to work beyond blitz. Okay, I've seen it with my own eyes. Somebody painted him as a poster boy for the city. I don't understand it. How can somebody that is literally the biggest slumlord in this town get the kind of credit that he got? I know that for a fact. I know he's a slumlord. I don't have to make accusations. I don't have to non-instinctually make assumptions. I know because I worked for him. I did work for his wife in her house, remodeled. He came to her and asked her point blank, why couldn't you do this for me? I did do it for him before I was let go for somebody who couldn't do the job the way it's supposed to be done. I've had training in construction. I've been in construction the vast majority of my life. I know what I'm doing with a hammer. I know what I'm doing with a nail. Like I said, I'm not here to complain about city council this week, which is probably a good thing because I do want to complain, but it's not going to do me any good to complain about you guys. You guys are trying to do what you can. And I have trust that at some point things can get better. I've been 30 years, give or take, out of this city. And I come back and it's like this, man. Like, I really don't understand how in 11, 12 years it could go from being a good thing to just, I don't even want to buy properties or not, because it's just gotten that bad. You guys want revenue. When I was here 20 years ago, guess what they did? They had wrestling, WWE, right down at the ice arena. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to these big organizations that make a lot of money for the city not coming in here? We had Lucille Ball, yes. She's, for the older crowd, she's well known.
We just had a Babe Ruth World Series that generated over $2 million in revenue.
Okay. But that's one. You see what I mean? With one a year, it's one time a year you get money.
Who painted this guy as Mr. Wonder?
I don't know. That's sarcastic, believe it or not. I came in here talking nicely, and that was just uncalled for. I don't know who painted this guy, do you?
Oh,
Well, do you see what I'm saying?
well, I thought you knew and just didn't want to say it.
No, I wish I knew, because I wouldn't have the attitudes that I have. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to be mean to you guys.
No, I
I just want to bring things to light. If you had one World Series here in 1 year, you make $2 million, right? That's what you just said. Why can't you have another thing come through that makes you another 2 million, or another 3 million, or another 4 million? Why does it only have to be 1 or 2 things a year that has been in this town that long? Our younger generation has no clue who Lucille Ball is or was. and they're the ones that are coming up to run this town. 26% of the people voted in the last election in this town. 26%. That's not saying much for our voting population at all. I've been arguing with people on Facebook for the last 2 weeks because they want to complain about things online. And I told them, you guys have a website they can go to, leave their comments there. That's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to address the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to housing, Billy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have some folks come and speak to us this evening. One of them brought up the suggestion, if it could be done, when we have housing auctions, if Chautauqua residents could have priority and bid first. And Crystal mentioned, and I think I concur, that there's probably nothing on the books to allow that to happen, but maybe we could look into the fact that having a new county law or rules for the auctions that will allow legitimate Chautauqua County residents to have first shot at bidding on some of the homes as they come up. And as some of us heard in both housing and public safety, the intersection of Lincoln and East 7th Streets gotten to be quite a drug infested area with quality of life issues. And they've been asked to meet with Crystal on quality of life issues and meet with Chief Jackson on some of the drug activity that's going on there. Crystal passed out chapter 216 rental inspection subsections, 216.6, 216.7, and 216.8 regarding the inspections for rental properties. She's confident that there's been more activity going on for landlords to register their rental unit, and that it's, for some, it's been relatively easy to do right online, and it is an annual registration. Crystal reported that HUD allotment has been secured, I think she said last week sometime, so there'll be some more housing initiatives coming out of her office, as well as some CDBG grants that might be funded and also upstarted. Comprehensive plans moving forward. The land use plan has been put together and is a meeting tomorrow with the internal stakeholders to go over that plan to see if there's any changes or amendments for the land use plan. And then the draft plan for the zoning and comprehensive plan is moving forward, and hopefully in the near future we'll have it published for feedback. And that was pretty much what we discussed in housing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to finance. Brent?
Excuse me, thank you, Mr. President. I have 4 resolutions. First, that the mayor and your fire chief authorize an agreement with Stryker Medical of Portage, Michigan, for the purchase of 1 Life Pack 15 and 1 Lucas chest compression system and associated equipment for total amount not to exceed $72,173.34, subject to the terms and conditions of the 2024 Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration grant funds. That's approved. The fire department. Next, resolve that the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement with Ryan Biggs Park Davis Engineering, DPC, of Brooklyn Park, New York, for engineering design for the Cherry Street parking garage for a total of $23,000 and no cents to be paid out of H-9551-1031 for 2021 bond issues, subject to the corporation council form. We still have money left in that bond for previous renovation work at the parking ramps. That's approved. Change order number 1 with our Patty Concrete Excavating LLC of Jamestown, New York, for Strong Street reconstruction 2025. Based on the change order dated September 16, 2025. Additional flat work, curb and gutter, ADA cast iron, EWS, and landscape restoration, for a total of increase of $20,812.00. There was a lot worse than we thought. We did. This will be coming out of CHIPS money. Total increase of $28,812.00. That was approved. Finally, last resolution, the mayor's authorized to agreement with Ryan Biggs Clark Davis Engineering, UPC, and Clifton Park, New York, for engineer design of the Spring Street parking garage for a total of $55,000.00 to be paid out of H-95 2021 bond issue, subject to the corporation council form. Same bond as the other one for Church Street. That was approved. The controller did report that most of the departments are under budget so far for this year, which is a good thing. A couple of them are over for overtime issues. And she continues to work on the 2026 budget for the mayor. That's all we have.
Good, thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Move on, public safety, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have a few people speak. Bill has already touched on it. There were 3 residents from the area of Lincoln Street that are concerned about drug use, crime that's happening in the neighborhood. We've connected them with Chief Jackson to possibly have some private conversations on some things that we might be able to do. We also had a woman speak from the area of Adams Street. She just wanted to give a recommendation on, is there any way that we could take our local police department, break it into precincts for a faster response time. The chief explained to her that the way the police department is structured now and the number of police officers that we are down and have, that really that's not a possibility to do at this time. So, and then we also had a couple resolutions. The first one was for the was on finance, and that was for the purchase of the life pack and the Lucas chest compression system through grant funding of $72,173.34, and that passed. The second resolution is basically the support. Congressman Nick Langworthy of New York has introduced the Energy Choice Act, H.R. 3699, in the House of Representatives with Senator Jim Justice of West Virginia, sponsoring the companion bill of S. 1945 in the Senate, legislation intended to preserve the ability of communities to choose the energy sources that best fit their needs. And whereas preserving flexibility in energy options is regarded as a way to promote reliability, affordability, and economic stability while continuing to support New York's long-term clean energy objectives. For those in the room that might not be familiar with it, in 2019, New York State adopted the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, also known as the CLCPA. And it established overly, in my opinion, overly ambitious statewide goals for reducing greenhouse gases emissions and expanding the use of renewable energy. The governor and the Democrat-controlled legislature stepped it up even more, and in 2023 they added additional provisions where enacted that the New York State budget to prohibit natural gas and other fossil fuel hookups in the most new residential and commercial buildings. So as of 2026, if you want to build a new home in the state of New York, or if you're a business owner and you want to build a small building for your business, it's going to have to be completely on electric. The governor has had multiple chances to dial back some of these timelines that are overly ambitious, and she has chosen not to do that. I personally feel it's because she's being pressured by her party not to. But the timelines are not feasible to do what they want to do. I've had conversations with engineers who stated that the timelines are not feasible and will not work. There's a 20 to 25% gap, even if you put all of the renewable sources in there. There's still gonna be a 20 to 25% gap that we need to bridge that gap. So fossil fuels need to stay around longer. And I think we're gonna have some major problems if these timelines aren't changed that the governor wants to do. So basically, this resolution is supporting Mr. Langworthy and Mr. Justice on allowing citizens of Jamestown to have a choice on what their energy system, or what they want to use for energy, including fossil fuels. It's all about having a choice, and if this passes, this will be forwarded on to Mr. Langworthy, Mr. Schumer, Kristen Gillibrand, and Governor Hochul, to show our support that the citizens of Jamestown need a choice. So that passed. And then we had a couple ordinance and local laws, be ordained by the City Council of the City of Jamestown as follows: that the mayor or her authorized representative be and hereby is authorized to edit the following city ordinance to reflect the below changed language, subject to the approval as to form by the Corporation Council. The right-of-way permit fees for utility contractors be raised by 11.5%. So when we discuss, that's just strictly for contractors, doesn't have to do with citizens. That passed. And that ordinance will take effect immediately.
Under the utility companies in the backup material here, it lists time ordered cable, shouldn't that be spectrum?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next resolution, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Jamestown as follows: that the mayor or her authorized representative be and hereby is authorized edit the following city ordinance reflect the below changed language, subject to the approval as formed by Corporation Council pursuant to City Code 290-28, modified alternate parking ordinance 290-21 through 290-25 on Pearl Avenue from Ensign Street to the dead end, from alternate parking to one side only parking. Parking on the south side of Pearl Avenue. On Chandler Street between Center Street to Cross Street, from one side parking to alternate parking. And this ordinance amendment shall take effect immediately if it passes. And we're assuming that's for maintenance and snow plowing, is that correct, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. So that passed. And then we had a few informational reports. The special event, the annual JHS Homecoming Parade from Allen Park to Strider Field on Friday, October 3rd, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., including setup and tear down. And that passed. The next special event was the Angel Walk to take place on the River Walk between Panzarella Park to the pedestrian bridge west of Washington Street Bridge on Sunday, October 12th, 2025, from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m., including setup and tear down. And this is to remember all the infant children that were born stillborn. And that passed. The third one was a block party, was 4th Street block party from Washington Street, and it should read Cherry Street. It did not, it read Pine, but it should say Cherry Street, to be held on Saturday, October 11th, 2025, with a rain date of October 18th, 2025, from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. And the Cherry Lounge signed off on that, the Doubletree signed off on that. It's a one-way street, it's on a Saturday, so that passed. That's all we have.
Any other questions? Okay, move on to Public Works, Randy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have one concerned citizen ask us about some sidewalk blocks on Hazeltine Avenue near Purcell School that Mark is gonna check out. I guess they're fairly low and gathering a lot of water. So we did have one there. we also had 4 resolutions that were all covered in finance. And of course, the one was the additional work from the engineering company that's going to have to do more extensive work such as letting out bids and that kind of thing. And it's something that we pretty much have to keep up on those parking ramps. Otherwise, it's gonna be costly down the road. Let's see, the committee has been in contact with Joe Town at Pace's Pizza about, he would like some loading and unloading in front of his establishment on Third Street. So, we have come up with a tentative agreement to do a half-hour, a non-metered half-hour unloading and unloading in front of the establishment so they can get their goods. So, other than that, we had, I wanna say that, Martin Road crosswalk has been on our, sites for a little while. There's been a lot of, concerned people about the children and the kids crossing into the, across the street apartment complex from Jefferson School. And so we asked Mark to draw us up a cost to lay a little cement pad, and of course the curb needs to be knocked out. And we've come up with a price of $13,475 to accommodate that. And that does not include the flashing lights, which we can probably get away with not having them. That's another $5,000 in cost. So we are going to possibly see what the school has to say, whether they may contribute or not. And they very well may to this cause. But another thing, the last thing is Foot Avenue is nearing completion. I think almost the whole thing is paved now, and it's not, the permanent striping's not down. So they, with the weather and all, they have temporary markings, so that'll have to be striped, and maybe a couple approaches with the blacktop to abate the side driveways. So, that is all that we had in committee.
I just had a quick question, maybe Mark can answer it. I did read through the full resolution number 2, which also showed on finance, for the change order, for the work. Could you provide to us in layman's terms, what is needed, what more is needed to justify the $20,812 change order?
So when they started to dig out that site, which is Strong Street between Lakeview and Prendergast,
Sure.
they, as happens on construction projects, they found that there were more bad sections than we thought. So basically they did additional 4-inch concrete, and they did another 60 feet of curving on that project.
So basically, they didn't plan on doing all the curbing, but then when they got into it.
They needed to
realized
do additional.
They needed to do more.
Yeah. Or there's additional sidewalk that needed to be done. That's what it is.
Let me ask you this question. I'm assuming Mr. Patty, or either himself or one of his representatives walks and looks at this stuff when they're gonna put a bid in, correct?
Well, when we put out contracts, it has quantities. So they bid on those quantities. They say if we tell them the project is 100 lineal feet of curving,
Sure.
that's what they bid on. If we add to that, then we owe them extra on top of the contract
Right.
amount.
So what you're saying, what I hear you saying is they don't physically go and look at it. You just tell them, we need this number of feet or this amount of flat work or whatever, and then they bid on it.
Correct.
They don't actually go there and look at it.
I'm sure they do for their estimates, but they don't come up with the quantities.
Alright.
They don't tell us what we're.
I guess my question is I can understand if something is underground and you dig,
Mhm.
but who's dropping the ball on not saying, oh, that curb looks bad there, we need to keep going, or who's dropping the ball on saying, hey, those, on the initial bids or the initial inspections, who's dropping the ball on the sidewalk pads and the curbing? I mean, that's just something right out in the open.
So our-
Why isn't that being included in the original bid?
Our engineers go out before any project is done and they put together estimates. They put together contracts.
Sure.
After all of that work gets done, a lot of times utilities will come in. So National Fuel will do some work, the BPU put in a new water line, and I don't know that this is what happened on this project, but a lot of times they'll dig their trench and they'll lose some curb, we'll replace that. They'll put in services, so they'll take sidewalks we weren't planning on, we'll replace those. We always build a little extra into our contracts to try and avoid change orders, because we've had, I don't know, maybe 10 projects that have come in front of you this year as far as road construction, and this is the only change order we've had this year.
Sure.
So, I mean, things happen when you're digging in the road. You know, a piece of machinery runs over a piece of curb, now you gotta fix that. You know, we hit a gas line up on that area. We
My
had a-
only concern is, you know, not saying it's necessarily something nefarious, but my concern is that it's real easy for a contractor to come in and throw down the lowest bid and get the job, and then come back and say they need a change order later on.
Well, so they're paid on those unit prices for that quantity.
Sure.
So if they bid, you know, $10 for 100 feet, they get $1,000. They have to do additional work on that same dollar value
Yeah.
to get that extra money.
I mean, I just had new gutters put on my house, $2,000. You know, if he's in the middle of the job and he comes to me and says, well, now it's gonna be $3,000.
Yeah, but that doesn't work for us either. If he said, well, I'm gonna do gutters on another side of your house and it's $3,000, that's different. That's basically what these are.
Yeah, and then our engineer go out and look at the project too.
Yes. So after it's all done, the engineers go out and they measure everything and confirm quantities with the contractor.
It's very typical, since I was involved in a lot of that, it would happen, our truss would run over, definitely curbs, sometimes even newly poured curbs.
Mhm.
Or the boss would come, I know I've done it before, and say, look at this curb, you got 6 feet of curb here, you got 80 feet that's good, and you're gonna skip this 6 foot of curb, it's terrible, and then you're gonna start new curb again? So I would take that. I mean, it's a common thing, although I agree, Jeff, you don't like to see a lot of change orders,
Sure.
but stuff like that does happen. But I don't think anything, that Ryan is doing is that it's basically the city saying, yeah, we need to fix that, or this got broken and we need to replace it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
I have just one remark, I was kind of mentioned in finance, Erica and I have met, and just so you're aware, Joe Galito is still coming in offering some insight into the budget process. We still have a lot more renditions to do before October 8th, but I do want to publicly thank all the department heads, not only for staying on task in Erica for this year, but being cognizant of what's in front of us for next year and those following years. So appreciate the work that all of them have put in. And then I have 2 items for executive section, no action to be taken, both involving litigation, and I only need Elliot and Tim. And it should be no longer than 5 minutes, hopefully.
Anything else?
That's it.
No motion? Second. All in favor?
No.
Opposed? We're in executive session.